Well, as a viewer, it's interesting that we can feel how tense congressional oversight hearings can be, especially the COVID subcommittee hearings sometimes as well. So, can you just describe? I mean, you described him not being remorseful. What was he like when he was sitting in that chair in front of all of you?
Look, I think he was cordial. He was trying to be friendly. He was trying to make conversations during the breaks. But the biggest thing, the biggest takeaway was that he spent most of the time pointing and deflecting. And for somebody, again, who did 111 briefings all in a row during the height of COVID, who knew who was dictating each and every day the changes that the state was doing toward their policy, issuing new mandates, issuing new guidelines, and for him to say that he didn't know anything about this guidance or this mandate that came out of the Department of Health with his name on top of it, as well as the health commissioner, it's not believable to me, and I don't think it's believable to anybody in the state of New York. But I think he was there for 7 hours. It was a very long time. We did get to ask many questions, and it wasn't political. The Democrats asked tough questions as well. They asked him about preferential treatment of family and friends to get COVID tests, and why at the same time they were doing that when nursing homes were prohibited from testing our most vulnerable, to protect our most vulnerable. And he said that everyone that came in contact with the governor was being tested. So, obviously that's more important than, these senior citizens at the nursing home or anyone else who wanted access to the test. So they highlighted that they felt that was an abuse of power. And it was, you have to make tough decisions, but you should be doing it in the interest of the public. So they highlighted that, and they focused a lot as well, the Democrats, on the numbers, the reporting. How come New York's numbers were so inaccurate when they were first reporting them? And it wasn't until the Attorney General's report had come out that we found out the truth. Now, the governor claims that this was a political hit job by the Attorney General, which I could believe, quite frankly, that she was trying to get ahead of him in issuing this report for political purposes. And that's quite possible. But again, it begs the question: was there some type of monetary incentive when you shifted people from a hospital setting to a nursing home setting versus a makeshift facility like the U.S. Navy comfort ship that came to our shores, or the Javits Center, or the South Beach Psychiatric makeshift hospital that was set up on Staten Island? And I asked that question, if the reimbursements were different. He said he did not have that information, but I think the committee has to find that information, because I think it's a critical piece to maybe give us a better look as to, was there a motivation? Was there a monetary incentive to do this ridiculous policy for the nursing homes? And one of the other things was, when we brought up the issue of these alternative facilities that were set up to take COVID positive patients, why were they not being used? Because that mandate stayed in place even after the comfort ship was in our shores and the Javits Center was set up. Governor said that they were not there to take positive patients, but that's contrary to what the media reports say. I mean, New York Times, and even the Department of Defense website says that the comfort ship was here specifically for COVID positive patients, but it wasn't being used. Neither was the Javits Center. And South Beach Psychiatric Center in Staten Island was hardly used as well. So that is a valid question as to why those facilities were not being used. And was it because of some type of reimbursements that hospitals and nursing homes may have received? I don't know. I mean, that is something that I brought up to the committee that we need to continue to dig further and find the answer.
Mhm.